We've all been there. You need to give a presentation to a client, you need to give some important information to a coworker, or maybe you just want to tell a cool story to your friends. But you mess it up. You go into boring details, you go off on a tangent, you give far more information than is actually necessary, and you see it. The horrible signs of a bad story. Your audience is distracted. Maybe one of your friends grabbed their phone. A coworker glanced at their watch. Or a client yawned. Oh no. So what now? Welcome to Further Records. I'm Forrest. Grab your pen and paper, and remember to check us out on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. The best thing you can do when you tell a story is planning. This episode is about how to tell a story, not about how to do research. For this exercise, you should already know what the content of your story is. At Further, we offer workshops where students can hone their storytelling skills. This is some of what we teach during these classes. Before you can begin to tell a story, you need to know two things. What are you talking about, and who are you talking to? What are you talking about refers to the symbolic message of your story. We call this a thesis statement. This is the message that people need to understand after they've finished your story. For example, for Percy Jackson, the message is that young kids can be clever no matter what their life conditions are. The message of Toy Story is that growing up can be difficult, but is necessary. When Steve Jobs did a presentation on the first iPhone, the content was, "We have created a new type of phone," but the message is, "Our new type of phone will change the world, and you need to buy one." See the difference between content and message? Once you understand what the message of your story is, you'll be ready to move on to, who are you talking to? This refers to who your audience is. You need to learn about them so you can understand what information is relevant to them. For example, astronauts might not understand much about pop music, so you might have to explain some more basic things. If you're talking to an engineer about a new car design, it's likely you won't have to teach them information for beginners, and you'll be able to get technical and detailed. You'll also have to understand the mood and tone of your audience. It's not the same when you tell a story to your friends and when you tell a story to your teacher. It's important to understand the level of seriousness that is necessary during a story. Alright, now you know your content, your message, and your audience. The next step is how to organize your story. This is where we will use something called the 3-act structure. This is a type of storytelling structure in which you divide a story into 3 big sections. Act 1 is the introduction. The introduction is like the first part of a movie. This is the part where you need to explain 2 things very quickly. The first is, why is your story important? You know why you're telling the story, but you need to start strong so that your audience will understand this quickly as well. Begin your story with a powerful spoiler of things to come. Imagine it as a TikTok. You know the ones that begin like, story time about how my dog went to the moon, or something like that. Except instead of using a generic phrase everybody else uses, begin with a unique hook so that your audience will understand quickly why they need to listen to you. Like, we have created a new type of phone that will change phones forever. Then present the story itself. Like, we researched the difficulties that other phones create, and this is what we did to solve them. Next is Act 2, the conflict. Here is where you need to become the hero of the story. In books, this is where the adventures and the problems happen. You fought monsters, or maybe you researched a topic, and then you won the battle, or maybe you wrote a research paper. This part is where most of the adventure happens and what decisions you made in order to be victorious. Always remember the message of your story, because Act 2 is where the conflict will support your thesis. Now you have to tie it all together with Act 3, the resolution. Finally, you've gone through all of the adventures. You need to begin the final act with the climax of your story. That means the most important, biggest conflict. After that, you need to solve the rest of your story. This is when the adventurer goes home. or where you present all your findings after doing scientific research. The initial message and the issues need to fuse together and explain it in a short way where it all makes sense. This is where everything needs to finish in a satisfying way. Repeat your initial message and finish with a strong phrase to end with a bang. And now, after you've told an incredible story with a fantastic emotional payoff at the end, rejoice by looking at your audience in the eye and the pure enjoyment of your story. Relax by knowing that after all this, you are a great storyteller. And if you're not satisfied with your story, don't worry, you'll get to do it again. You've been listening to Further Records. If you have any ideas for topics you'd like to learn, be sure to send us a message. Here's some vocabulary we learned during this episode. Mess up, to make a mistake. To go on a tangent. To talk about something that's only a little bit related to what you were talking about before.
Glance, to look quickly at something. Go into detail, a phrase that means to talk about the complex parts of something. Hone your skills, to practice and become better at something. Generic, something that is common and not very unique at all. Before you know it, an expression which means that something will happen very soon. Hook, a powerful way to capture your audience's attention and interest in your presentation. It can be a story, a question, a statistic, a quote, or anything else that sparks curiosity and relevance. If you want extra materials, be sure to check out our YouTube page. We explain new vocabulary with fun and beautiful animations. For challenges and fun facts, you can check out our TikTok and Instagram pages. Just look us up as Further Corporate on any platform. Thanks for listening.